What's going on, everybody? Tim here at Volatility Trading, here for what is probably, I should probably go back and count how many Friday night live streams we've actually done, because we're getting up there. I feel like we're in the probably close to 100, maybe. I don't know. That seems a little far-fetched, actually. 2 years. How many Fridays are in a year? There's 52 weeks in a year, so actually 100 doesn't actually seem that far off. I'll have to actually go back and check that at some point. But welcome, welcome, welcome. Really not that exciting of a week. I haven't honestly even looked at the stats from this week, but I don't think they're going to be anything too impressive. Zishan, what's up? How you doing, man? Welcome. Yeah. Let's see, last 7 days. I do believe we were green every day. Let me see. We were green every day. Just nothing impressive at all. I don't know if we ever started a day off red. Let's go to the management here. It should actually kind of be able to tell us. Nah, we'll just do it by the dashboard. Minus 74, my option play on SPY. Post it on that chat. Yeah, I saw that. That's unfortunate. I don't really mess with the options. I know GDT's been messing with them, but just not my jam. Let's go back and see the first couple trades. So first trade on Monday. So we were green all day Monday. 16th, we were green all day. 17th. So it looks like we were red for one trade. And then this was just, oh yeah, this was that like weird day where we just took a bunch of smaller trades. And then today, or actually that was Wednesday. Then Thursday, we were red after, not by much, but after we had all those misclicks on JFIN. JFIN could have been a really nice green trade a couple of times, especially this first time, and we just messed it up so badly. But ended up being okay. We collected ourselves rather quickly. I was actually quite impressed with myself in hindsight, how quickly I caught up with myself there, and we got back in and made some of it back. So yeah, I was pretty impressed with myself after that. And then we actually ended up making some more money throughout the rest of that day. And that was actually, I think that was our best day of the week. Oops, I'm at the calendar. Yeah, Thursday actually ended up being our best day. We didn't quite hit goal any of these days, but again, just these last 3 weeks, like if we just look at the month of March so far, we're just really haven't been able to get anything going. We came so close this day on the 10th, which was my son's birthday, so that was kind of fitting, I guess. But just I feel like there hasn't been the amount of A-plus setups to really kind of smash a little bit. We've been getting maybe like one every day at least. But there hasn't really been many where it's been saying, trade me, trade me, trade me. Like, I feel like we haven't got back to that point just yet. There are, obviously, I'm still taking a bunch of trades most days. So there are trades available. But the old me, I really think if I was in the stage I was, like, I don't know. I don't remember the exact times, but I'm going to say like 6-ish months ago, I probably wouldn't have traded so far, but maybe, I don't know, like 4, 5, 6 times total for this whole month of March. But I mean, you still see me squeezing 7 trades, 6, 4, 8. I only got one that day, 3, 9, 8, 5, 6, 6, 9, 8, 10, 2. So we are getting the trades. It's just nothing is really saying, throw your money at me. If anybody likes to play poker, I feel like I've been getting cold decked, just not getting any cards to play, and we're just waiting patiently, right? We're trusting the process, and the little bit of confirmation that I have had recently is, you guys know that Brian is kind of the one that I look up to. He's my mentor. But he also has been not playing a lot of the pop and drop, what I call the pop and drop. He plays it as much as he can. It's obviously his bread and butter as well. But he's starting to mix in a bunch of other plays, which also, that comes from experience. Like, he knows how to do those things. But I also don't know how. I'm not going until I get ahead of myself, right? Until I have a bunch of money in the bank, the house money, I'm not really looking to venture off and start, messing with my emotional mindset with all these other types of different trades. I'm still mastering this one trade, and I still am perfecting it. Like, I still have these like nitty-gritty details that I'm still hammering out on a daily basis as I trade. And I have a base process right now, and it's working, right? It's a base process. Every once in a while, you'll see me go, just talking about entry size here, you'll see me go half size, and then like I'll hit it again for a half size, and then like a full size, so like 0.5, 0.51. Sometimes you'll see me hit it for 112. Sometimes you'll see me hit it for 122. I don't think I've actually done the 124 yet. I almost did, I believe, on one trade, and it would have worked beautifully, but I think it was just a 122, and it still worked fairly well. But I eventually want to get the balls, the courage to go 124. Like, that's what I really want to do, because I feel like that is my strength. My strength as a trader is to nail those entries. And if I can nail those entries, even if I'm early the first time and even the second time, I can still keep my average up very well by scaling in the way that I am. But what that requires is me starting off a little bit on the smaller side. So I'm hitting a lot of base hits, right? But those base hits are fine as long as you're racking them up. And you can't get greedy too, right? There's been so many trades that I've taken these last 3 weeks that have come up. I've gotten a great entry, and it just comes down, like it wants to pull back, it finds support, it just not giving us that flush that we want, right? It's not giving us that flush. What I would normally do is say, we still haven't got that flush yet. And I would let that thing go back high of day, and I would start to fight it. And the next thing you know, it turns into a grinder, and you never get that flush, right? It just grinds along, right? Little pullback, grind higher, little pullback, grind higher. And before you know it, you're taking a pretty big loss, a max loss, a bigger loss than you should have. But lately, you've been seeing me recognize those patterns, right? When we get in, even with sometimes a mediocre entry, and we realize that it's trying, but it doesn't want to, and then it starts to come back up higher, a lot of times that thing's been ripping back the high of day. So we've just been taking it off. If we weren't right on that initial flush, we take it off. But like today, let's go to one of our trades from today, RXT. So this one, it popped up. We got a pretty good entry, and it flushed down, right? We got that flush that we were looking for down through that whole $1.24. I think our order was sitting there at like 81. Yeah, 81. So we got in 24.26 right there, and we got out at 23.81. So we got the entry. We were looking for that 24 flush. It was about halfway, actually a little less than halfway, so we actually got a little bit more. And yeah, that was what we were looking off of this line here. However, the other trade we took today, which, I mean, there really wasn't much going on today. Look at what this one did. I mean, granted, we were wrong on this one, but that's not the point. Look at this one grind, right? Grinds up, pull back, grinds up, pull back, grinds up, pull back, and then it actually, look at how this is kind of grindy, and then you finally got a nice little pop, right? Right through the whole $1.04. And I actually was watching for closer to 420 for an entry here, but you could feel it jiggle. It hit 412, and it just started going like this. I mean, my line literally, I mean, if you go back and watch it, you could see it jiggling. So we jumped in. And this went down to 4, and we had an order sitting at 396. And wouldn't you know it, it got down to 397. Popped right down to 397. And we were sitting at 396, and I gave it a sec. If you actually go back and watch it, I took my order, and I dragged it way up here because once I let go, if the order's way above, it's going to just market me out, right? So it tried to reclaim 4, it failed, tried to go back down. It was like trying to stay under 4, and then it popped over 4, tried to come back. Like you could see it like kind of jiggling there as well. And this move here, this candle, is what I was hoping it did, right? I was hoping it would just reject 4 and then plop, right? That's what we wanted. At that time, I still would have got filled at 396, which I don't remember if I moved my order. Let me see. No, I didn't move my order, so it was still at 396. So I was still just looking for that flush down for that one more penny. If it did start to come back down, like if it started to fail where we were at 4, I might have tried to move it. But at that point, I was convinced that it wasn't going to. And it started to pop back up, and we got out. And as you can see, it did try to go back up higher. And it just really felt like when it burst back through 4, it was going to try to go a little bit higher. And unfortunately, it didn't, and it kind of made us look a little stupid. But this is kind of what I'm talking about. I've been reading the price action on that initial entry, and especially on days where I'm not necessarily feeling it 100%. Like today, scanners were offline for the beginning of the morning. There were some internet issues with the servers, but that not only that, I had somewhere to be for my brother's birthday today, and I just wasn't fully in the mood because of all these things that were put together. And so when you're not 100% and it's not really an A+ setup, there's no need to get out of hand with it, right? If it works and you get that flush, awesome. That would have looked like a good trade, right? We would have got filled right back down here. That would have looked like a solid trade. But you also don't have to prove yourself right. If this wants to pop back up and it's not doing exactly what you wanted it to do, just jump out, right? Even if it's a break-even trade, just jump out, because if it does come up and fail, you can jump back in. If it does come up and runs up through 420, you can get back in. Like, you're basically just pausing the trade because it didn't do what you wanted it to do. I'm getting so much better at that. I'm learning to accept that it's okay to pause a trade. It's okay. Like, you can always get back in. And that was kind of what I did with the trade yesterday, JFIN. When I hit the wrong button, I paused myself for a second. I got my little temper tantrum out for the 10 seconds that I did. I recollected myself, realized I still wanted to be in this trade, obviously, or else I wouldn't have been so upset about it. And then I got back into the trade, right? And it actually worked out in my favor because it ran a little bit. So I ended up with a better average with the same amount of shares, and we made most of it back. So that's one thing that I have been working on and learning, and it's been helping me out. But unfortunately, again, I mean, this is not an A+ setup by any means. And our other trade, this one was better, but not by any means an A+ setup. All right? I mean, if this thing would have ran up through 25, I mean, that would have been beautiful, but it didn't, right? So it's just what we've been dealing with. We have to kind of pick and choose our poison, and risk management is key right now. There's a lot of people that have been taking losses these last few weeks, and I've been green almost every day except for the first day of March. That was the only day I wasn't green. So I can't be upset with that. I can't be upset with that. Not at all. Yeah, first day. That was it. Which yeah, it was that one trade on AMTX, and we actually fought our way back throughout the rest of the day. And I mean, look at that. Pretty much 2 break-even trades in there. There's nothing wrong with it. If the trade isn't doing what you want, don't be afraid to get out of it. But like I said, since we started trading beginning of this year, we've been doing well. So can't complain. We're still under that 80% win rate. Not even mad about it. Nice profit factor. 1.82, pretty close to 2 there. If I could get that to 2, I'd be pretty happy. I do feel that as we do get into that 1-2-4 mindset moving forward, we're gonna make some things happen. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Taking a drink reminds me. I brought the goods tonight. Been needing one of these. I need a vacation is what I need, but for now a beer will do. What do you mean, Thomas? You won't have that many opportunities as you do now? What do you mean by that? Take what she gives you, just like never. What? Oh, just like never mind. It's different hearing it through text, you know. I'm learning poker. What do you watch for poker? I want to join the ISW so bad, but saving up for the scanner. It'll be worth your while, man. It will be worth your while. Never drink the Blue Monster. What's the Blue Monster? Good evening, mother. For poker, I actually just found a new channel of a bunch of guys that I used to watch all the time, but they have they go they have this thing called Poker Out Loud. Their YouTube channel is Solve for Why. I highly recommend checking some of these out, but they have like some of the poker vloggers on YouTube, including Landon Tice and Matt Berkey. He's like one of the main guys, and Chin's on there as well. They play poker, and they actually like talk it out. Like, you see how they all have headphones on, so they'll put like either music on like really loud or something so they can't hear each other. So when they're making a play, it's their turn. They will actually like pause their music or turn it off and speak out their thoughts. So they're basically telling you what they're thinking, how they're playing, and stuff like that. Like, you're not just watching other people play. They're actually telling you how they're playing. So it's actually really cool if you're somebody that's learning. Now, granted, this is probably a little bit more advanced because it's not exactly like them teaching you how to play poker. It's more so kind of teaching you the advanced like thinking, like thought process, and like range, talking about like range advantage, all kinds of different things. But they are a little bit more advanced with it. But yeah, the further you get into it, I definitely recommend Solve for Why. As far as learning the game, I mean, pick your poison. There's so many different things to do. I mean, as far as like watching some people, I watch Rampage. I watch Brad Owen. There's another guy that I just started watching, which he's a smaller guy. What is his name? Is it Beast Poker? Ethan at Rampage Poker, he's pretty good. Brad is like one of the bigger ones who kind of started all the poker vlogging. I think it's Poker Beast. Maybe I'm not subscribed to him, but I thought I was. But he pops up on my recommended a lot. But you'll see other ones pop up on my recommended all the time too. Just like Harry B pops up there all the time. Johnny Vibes pops up there. Landon Tice pops up. Like, they all pop up there. And there's actually a really funny one. Greg Goes All In. He actually like makes skits. It's actually pretty funny. My net this week, it was like $100. It wasn't anything special. Yeah. Well, welcome, man. I appreciate you being here. If you're talking about DTing and stuff like that, I'm assuming you've been trading for longer than 2 weeks, so that's good to know. I don't know. I don't really look past the beginning of this year, so I can tell you at least from the beginning of this year. But my goal right now is $50 a day. There's something that we like to preach in ISW, and that's consistency. And size is all relative to the person trading. So what we like to preach is, $50 a day. If you can't even make $50 a day, you're not going to make $500 a day. If you can't make $50 a day, you're not going to make $5,000 a day. So there's no need to try to start higher. Why not just learn and only risk $50 a day until you can make that consistently? And then when you can make consistently $50, you can make $100 consistently. Then you can make $200. Then you can make $500. Like, it's really just a matter of changing the share size. It's all about finding that consistency and going from there. So as far as best week goes, I mean, if you really want to tally up weeks, I know there was one day in here where I made like 80 something. It was probably that week. Yeah. Oh yeah, it was definitely this week. So the second week of February was definitely my best week. I'm assuming it was probably pretty close to that 50 a day if you add it all together. Let's see. 36, 83 plus 25, 7 plus 80. Man, 69 plus 5195 plus 4.61. The heck? I hit enter and that's what happened. That was weird. So 236.78. So we were close. We missed it by $13. We missed our. But I've never hit my weekly goal of that 250, which would be 50 a day. Especially not recently because it's just been so slow. And the crazy part is a lot of these red days that you see, I was actually just talking to David about this. If you do, I did the calculation. Actually, let me just pull up the number. I can tell you exactly what it was. Let's see, average winning. So my average, if you count these days up, there's, let's see, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 38, 42. I think it was 50, or well, it's more now. 42, 45, 49. So we got 49 days here. Let's pull the calculator back up. So 49 days, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them were red. So out of 49 days, let's do 6 divided by 49. So 12.2% of my trading days of this year have been red. Now, of that, my average losing day, if you add all the averaging losing days up, it is $31.44. So if we take $31.44 times that by 6, that's how much we've lost over the last 49 days. So now we have 43 days left, and our average winning day is $30.68. So that's how much we've won, which is obviously, if you go back to the dashboard, it shows you that number, the net number. So it's just a lot of people, and I was going to say a lot of those, there's some decent losses in there, but that's the power in numbers, right? The old me back in the day would have, taken that one big loss and just moved on for the day. Like this was the biggest loss I've taken in a while, that trade on GT. Which, if we go back and look at that chart real quick, this one was brutal. This one actually was a grinder, and we let it get us. This is exactly what we were talking about, right? So we got short, and it tried to pull back, and it didn't. So right here, we should have cut it, right? Right now I would. This is exactly what I was talking about. This is what I've been reading. It didn't do what we wanted it to do. Just because we're going to be red if we cut it, who cares? It's a small loss. If it starts to fall back over and work, then okay, right? I mean, even if we waited until high of day to cut it, fine, just cut it. But there was no reason for us to hold on to this. And as you can see, it ends up burning us. We actually end up adding to it, hoping it was a fake break. It wasn't. Keeps on going. We add to it again. We get real no pullback. And we try to add one last time, and then we cut it. And then this was a complete revenge trade, trying to say, okay, you're not going to stop me out and then fall over. So we got short again, and then went high of day again and stopped us out, and then we were done with it. So that was the biggest loss we've taken, and our max loss on any given day is that $300 right now. So even with that big loss, a big stupid loss, we still never even came within half of our max loss, right? And if we go back to that day, what day was this? February 22nd. We came back from that, right? We ended up making, that was the first trade of the day. We ended up fighting back, even with more losses in there. Right? We still had 3 more losses that day, with decent size. But I remember this day. It was a Friday, I believe. February 22nd. That was Monday. Interesting. Okay. I thought there was a Friday like this too, where I took a big loss in the morning and then we ended up fighting back. And I was just astounded by how many opportunities we had like late in the day on a Friday. But anyways, as you can see, typically when you take a loss, you tend to stick around longer than you normally would because you're trying to make it back. And I made quite a bit of it back, right? We ended up making $100 back after the $142 loss. And within that, there was 3 other losses too. So it was a good fight. But obviously the opportunities were there. I know for a fact that I was not forcing trades. Like if we go back and start taking a look at all of these trades, you'll see the charts. So obviously, I mean, they might not be A+ setups, but you're at that point you're looking for just setups that might work. I took a lot of entries on this one, huh? It looks like a couple different trades. So look at this. There we go. So that looks like an A+ setup. Looks like we actually reduced on the reclaim, which is what you're supposed to do. What the heck is that? I don't even know what that is. Oh, there we go. So looks like, right, intense move. Tried to hit the backside, was wrong. Added to it, looking for it for that to obviously be the fake pop back up through high of day. It was still extended, and it tried to come back down. And then when it reclaimed high of day, we reduced it, and I believe we reduced it. Let's see. I don't want to speak out of line. Yeah, we reduced by half, and then we added that back. Came back up, gave us a nice little take profit there. Looks like we added that back again, and then we ended up getting some more off of the sloppy seconds. So that actually ended up being a good trade. I actually remember that one once I started going through it. It's actually pretty cool. Let me see. I want to see the running P&L on this one. This is a new feature that they added. So it shows you throughout the trade how it looked. So you can see I actually became green for a little bit, and then went back to red, then back to green, and then got up nice green there. It's pretty cool. I actually like that a lot. Zekin, pretty standard, right? It tried to go higher, didn't go high enough to get an ad. Waited for it to come down, took profit. RNWK. Over here. Same thing. Big spike up through that previous resistance. Took it, got the drop. Nothing too crazy. This was later in the day too, so I was taking smaller size. This does not look like a great trade, but it might not look like a huge intense move because of what happened later in the day. Because this is a pretty crazy move. So let's if we scroll in over here, let's see what it looks like. That isn't really the best of trades. But obviously it didn't keep going high enough to get an ad, so we waited and it ended up working out, but not the best of trades there. PED. Again, not really the best of trades. It definitely wasn't like A+, that's for sure, which is probably why I was going smaller size on them too. This one, however, this one actually looks good. Get rid of that move over there. You can see nice little resistance here. Oops. I know I can draw lines, but yeah, there we go. You can see the. So you can see the previous resistance here. Got to move through. Tried to continue. Got a nice little ad and took the wash. That's a pretty standard trade right there. Don't tell me to do no math, Thomas. So here's one of the losers. Let's see what happened here. I remember this. This is when I was doing those stupid YOLO longs. I think these were both the 2 longs. Yep, they were. But 2 float rotation plays, and they didn't work. I don't know. I remember telling myself I would have been pretty close to even this day if I didn't do that. Pretty good one here, right? Intense move, got it. Started to scale out. I think I scaled out on this one because I really felt like we were going to get more out of it, but it was the price action was telling me we might not. So I was just taking some off just to make sure that we locked in some profit there, and then we did end up getting the drop. This one's probably the best one we've seen so far. Nice intense move, got the top, covered into the wash, pretty standard. And here's part of the GT. This was the second GT trade. Just bad. This was there two? Oh, apparently I took two separate GT trades. This one's pretty standard, right? Big intense move. It gave us enough for an ad. We were looking to see what it did through 6 if it got there for a possible third ad, like do 112. Never got there. Ended up forming a DT here. Probably could have even added in there for that, and then got the nice flush. Is this even still the same day? I mean, I know there was a lot of trades, but yeah, it is. I guess it has to be because I filtered it. Decent pop. Looks like we were looking for more out of this for whatever reason, because we definitely didn't cover down here. Maybe we were in another trade. I don't remember, to be honest. Carve. Looks like this one was probably a good one. This one would have been better over here. Still pretty good. Got the pop. Covered into the wash, right? You'll see a lot if you ever watch my trades. You'll see there's usually always a pop after the wash, right? And usually we always try to get out before that. We're usually pretty good about getting the bottoms of those. And then we're back to GT, which was a grinder. There was no reason to be in this thing longer than that first entry. I'm pretty sure I remember saying in that trade, if anybody wants to go back and watch it to fact check me, that I should cut it when it goes high of day. I'm pretty sure I told myself that, and then I ended up fighting it and losing all that money like an idiot. But, all right. Put in 50K and was gambling a whole lot each trade. Lost about 20K and then backed out real quick. I need to paper trade way more first. Yeah, paper trading is good to get your fundamentals down. You should yeah, don't be throwing 50K in unless you're a millionaire. Don't throw anything in there that you're not willing to lose, because you will. Actually hunt percentage gains instead of P&L. I mean, if that's what you're looking for. I could care less about percentages. The percentages for me are going to be so different on any given trade. I range trade, I guess is the best way to put it. Like that's kind of what I look for, is the range in a stock. So like RXT here, you'll look at the move. I would say like the move kind of started here and got to here. So 23 to 24.50. So that's a $1.50 range, right? That's what I'm trading off of. Within this, I mean, if you're worried about percentages, sometimes that can be a lot different, because on a $2 stock, it can go to 350, and that's a $1.50 range on one move, and your percentage is going to be 10x, or it's going to be 10x more on RXT, just because of the price, even though it has the same range. So I don't like looking at it that way, because to me, I feel like that is just, it doesn't really make sense to me, because you can say you got a 10% move on RXT, but then you can say you got a 100% move on the $2 stock, and yet you made the same amount of money. So and they both moved the $1.50 in the same way. Like they can make this exact same move for $1.50. It's just one is a higher price stock and one's a lower price stock. So I can't explain it any better than I did. So if you're shooting for $50 a day, how much money is your average trade value? And again, that's another thing that I don't pay attention to because I'm trading the range. So I could take the same amount of shares on a $24 stock here on RXT that I do on a $200 stock, because the range is the same. So if I'm looking to get 50 cents, whatever, like whatever it is to get to my take profit goals for a trade, that's how many shares I'm going to take based off of how many cents I have to get from the trade, from that first entry that I take with the amount of shares that I do. So if it requires, say 100 shares on this stock, but it also requires 100 shares on a $200 stock, obviously, again, it's going to be 10x more of position value on the $200 stock, even though I'm trying to get the same amount out of each stock. So it's the same argument as the percentages. That's why I go green to red all the time. but I'll catch that lottery ticket soon. Do you like shorting bull pullbacks over bear trends? I look for big intense moves, typically at high, like that are high of day, but I also like to see them breaking out in as many aspects as possible. So like if I look at the daily, which I don't even know if this one's going to look good. I mean, this one doesn't look bad, but I'm looking for it to be like already broken out. I'm not looking for it to be at a breakout level. So, I mean, to me, let me get rid of all these lines real quick. To me on this one, I don't even think I looked at the daily on this one because it was happening fast, so I just jumped in. But like I would think this would be a breakout level possibly to get to this level, and then this would be the real breakout level. So say it made the move up to this level, I don't necessarily want to get short at these levels because that's usually when these things can really blast off, right? Because it's a breakout level. However, it could be used as resistance, and that's where reading price action really comes in. So it's like if I wanted to start a position on the bottom end of this 25.75, I would be a little bit more careful, maybe smaller share size, just not looking either like do like a right or right out trade. If it does break through here and decides to go higher, feel free to jump out and look for it to actually, like blast off and wait for that FOMO to kick in. Anyone from UK? Nope, I am not from the UK. USA. I have never tried trading options, and I actually tried to get Justin GDT to explain it to me, and he was trying to explain the premiums to me, and I got lost, and I haven't even perfected what I'm doing here, so I have no need to want to do anything else until I perfect this. What I'm doing is working. I want to perfect it to where I can consistently hit that $50 a day. I want to make it so $50 a day is my minimum, right? That's what I consistently make minimum, not where it's like I'm aiming for that every day. I want to come in and say, I should be making $50 a day as a minimum, and then hopefully be making more on top of that. That's what my goal is right now. But right now, I'm still fighting to even get to that $50 a day. And I know, sure, I could just double my share size and I'd have no problem doing it, right? But that's not the point. The point is, with my current share size, I should be able to hit that $50 a day like it's nothing. Right now, we're fighting the market, though. The market has not been necessarily providing us with those A-plus opportunities that we love. And as Brian would tell you, trade the process. And as I will tell you, trade the process. Stay disciplined. You have a long time to trade, right? It's not just this week. It's not just today. It's not just this week. It's not just this month. It's not just this year. If you're looking to make this your career, you have your entire career, your entire life ahead of you to trade. So no need to force anything, right? Just let it come to you. Let the trades come to you. That's the best, like one of the best pieces of advice I can give to you. It's basically saying don't FOMO into trades, essentially. I live in Maryland. Cheers to anybody else who's drinking, by the way. I went to eat Mexican food with the wife because my mother was so graciously nice to watch the kids. I want to say it was Wednesday, Thursday. And I got a Modelo Especial. I got like the tall boy, and it was nice. It was the first beer I had in a while. Denver, nice. Yeah, Mexican food's amazing. We actually had sushi today for my brother's birthday. Here, let me show you guys a picture. I posted this on my Discord, but try to block the light a little bit. Yeah, green screen. Focus. Yeah. Oh, you know what? Here, I can just bring it up on my computer. I'm silly. Much easier that way. There it is. My favorite food in the whole world. Granted, this is like, you know, your overkill sushi, um, you know, for a special occasion. I am more of the you know, I could just eat salmon sashimi all day. Give me salmon sashimi and some soy sauce with a little bit of wasabi in it. I just go to town on it. I also like crab meat rolls, like actual crab meat, like Maryland crab meat. Shrimp tempura is good. I like that. I'd say like probably my favorite roll though, like a special roll, is it's an eel and avocado. So basically the inside is just eel and cucumber, and then they call it a bamboo roll because they take like a whole avocado and just drape it over top, kind of like they did here with this, but it's just avocado just layered on top, and it's so good. It just, the avocado just like melts in your mouth, and then you get those crunchy bites of eel and cucumber, and salivating thinking about it. I'm still having a hard time managing risk reward with this strategy since we have to run a negative expectancy. Can you explain how you determine risk reward on the fly? Oh, it was good. Legend, I don't use patterns. The only pattern that I really look for is the descending triangle sometimes, just to kind of confirm why I am still in a trade. Like RXT here, you can kind of see one that formed. I mean, these happen really fast sometimes, but I mean, they are still there. So you can kind of see how it's starting to form. I mean, some happen a lot slower than most. What was the other trade we had? So, I mean, you could even consider this a descending triangle, like if you really break it down. It didn't necessarily quite give you the best looking one, but you can start seeing these support levels. I mean, you could even move it down here and disregard over here. You start to see these form. So you get the big intense move, and then you start getting the higher lows, but they all keep hitting that same base area, and eventually it cracks. Right? That's a descending triangle. That's one of the blueprint trades for the Intensity Stockwatch scanners. Confirmation? Confirmation is just big red candles. I mean, the best way to explain how I trade is to just ask you to go watch me trade. Because I can sit here. It's so hard because I now know how Brian felt trying to explain these things to me, because when I'm saying them out loud, it sounds like it should be so easy, but I know from going through the experience that it's not. Like trying to understand the words that are coming out of my mouth. Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? It's not that easy. Like I can lead you the horse to the water, but I can't make you drink it. But it's like, even if you are drinking the water, sometimes the water just doesn't make sense, right? So the best way, especially for me, was to watch, finally getting Brian to post some actual live trades and watching those trades. So it's really hard because I'm still not there. Like I can tell that I'm still not there. Like I still can't necessarily like see. Like Brian always says it. He's like, it'll be so easy once you can see it. And I know exactly what he's talking about. And I know that I still can't see it. And what he's talking about is when something makes a big move, you start to just see the top forming. And sometimes it's not the actual top. You just see it starting to form. Like you can see that they're trying to put a top in. And sometimes it might take 5-10 minutes. But you can just see them trying to put a top in. Like that's what he's trying to tell me. And I'm not there yet. So what I'm doing is I'm just taking the A+ setups. I'm looking for that FOMO. I'm looking for the volume to come in. I'm looking for a move to start going up, and you start to see the people hitting that ask, the buyers hitting the ask, the ask, the ask, the ask. The FOMO starts to come in, the ask, and RXT is probably a much better representation of this. But look how big these candles are, right? Look how big the candles get. You can just see people are just hitting the ask, the ask, the ask, the ask. And then finally, there's going to be a time where you hit the ceiling. And I always say, like, imagine you have a ladder in a house and it's just going up to the ceiling. And you start climbing that ladder, right? You start climbing that ladder. And what happens? You hit a ceiling, right? There's a ceiling. And then you keep trying to climb through the ceiling, right? And every time you hit the ceiling, you come back down to recharge. You hit the ceiling, you come back down to recharge. That's the jiggle at the top. Sometimes there's going to be somebody that's strong enough and they're going to hammer right through that ceiling. And then it's just going to keep on going, right? It's going to happen. But the odds are people are going to go up there and hit the ceiling, hit the ceiling, hit the ceiling. And that's people going ask, bid, ask, bid, ask, bid, ask, bid, right? And then it starts to go bid, 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 ask, bid, 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 ask. And like you start to see that happening. And the best way that I can allow you guys to understand this is to watch the time in sales as it's happening. That was the best way to learn. But over time, you will start to see, I should probably put the time in sales back on so you guys can see it. It would help a lot more. Like for when I'm playing, like getting my entries, it would probably let you guys, like I would never look at it at this point, but this orange line is basically the last price. So as the move is happening, this is the last price to go through, the actual orders to go through, which is what you would see on the time in sales. And as those orders are going through, if this bar is going up, 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 obviously it's just hitting the ask, right? If the bar is rising, that means the price is being taken out on the ask, because that's the only way that the price rises, is if more people are buying the prices on the ask, which make the price rise up on the stock. So if it's going up, 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 and then all of a sudden it starts to stop and it starts to jiggle, that means people are now not only hitting the ask, some people are now hitting the bid. So on the time in sales, you're going to see green, 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 and then you're going to start seeing red, 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 green, red, 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 green, red, red, green, red, green, red, green, red, red. And then what happens after that point? Do they break through the ceiling, green, 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 or do they flush back down, red, 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 right? That's what the time in sales is showing you. That's what you're looking for on the time in sales. That's the confirmation that I'm looking for, is when I see that jiggle, I'm then looking for that sea of red to come in to give us that flush down that we're looking for. Because let's insert ourselves into the 90% of traders' shoes, right? The ones that trade these breakouts, the ones that are FOMOing into these trades, the ones that when we first started trading, we wanted to be just like, right? So let's look at RXT here. We see it starting to go. Let's scroll out here. We got a pretty obvious point right here. It starts to go up. You got people FOMOing into it. It breaks over here, and now you got all the late bloomers who are FOMOing into this. And then what happens? You see 24, right? It's a whole dollar resistance. It's a big mental resistance. And what happens when the price gets through 24? You have a bunch of 90%ers who think they know how to short, who cover their positions because it goes through 24. You have a bunch of people that are still buying into the FOMO for the break of 24, and you get the pop, right? Now, when you get that pop through 24, now what do you get? We're still in the 90% of shoes. So now we have a bunch of people that lost money. We have a bunch of people that just got into the trade, right? Now we get that pop. Now everyone that's down here, they're like, holy crap, this went up through 24. Sell, right? They're selling. You have people like me, the 10%, who are now short selling because we know what's about to happen. We have all the people down here. The people in here are going to be selling on that 24 pop, right? These people up here are just looking for the scalp through 24. These people down here were looking for the big play for them through 24. And you're going to get all that selling pressure, right? Big pop through whole dollar, big selling pressure. Also, now when that selling pressure starts to come back down from all those people selling, all those people shorting, you now are back down through 24. So now what's going to happen? All the people that bought in for that 24 break that are in long over this 24 break are like, oh shit, this isn't where I parked my car. And then they sell, right? So now we got three forms of people selling. We got the breakout traders who are now selling because they realized they messed up. We have the people that were long down here that are selling. And if they didn't sell because they were looking for a bigger move, they see it dropping back down through 24. So they're probably selling now because they don't want to give back any more than they already have because they were too stupid to sell over 24. And then you also have these people in here that are like, well, I'm going to sell before, I end up red on this trade, that kind of thing. But then what happens? Usually after all of that selling pressure, you get all the people that were short up here covering their shares, right? That's exactly what you see me doing. You also got a bunch of other people probably doing the same thing. And then you also have all the people that were down here that were long that sold up here looking to buy the dip. You have people that have bought the breakout who are looking to average down. You have a bunch of people after that big wash looking to buy shares, right? Which is why you almost always get some sort of bounce, right? It does occasionally go straight up and then straight back down, but you almost always get a big move up, you get a retrace, and then what I always say this, it's usually about 50% of the move. Whatever happens after that retrace, who the fuck knows? You do not know if that thing is going to bounce and go back to high of day. You don't know if it's going to bounce and go lower. You don't. The constant you will see in every single one of my trades is an intense move, unless I'm trading poorly, an intense move into a pullback. That is the constant. That is the edge. That is the strategy. Looking for that intense move, getting short, and looking for that pullback. What it does after that pullback, I have no clue. If it's a really good move, you're damn right well, I'm going to try to hold on to some shares if I can, looking for that bigger move down. But if it's not a huge, crazy good move, I'm probably just going to take the whole thing in most cases. As I get more share size as well, I'll be more inclined to keep some because I can always get out a large percentage of my position and then just hold a very small piece, which can still do some damage. But like right now, if I'm only trying to make $50 a day, that means, like on this trade, I only had 10 shares. So if I were to take 80% of my position, I would be left with 2 shares. You can't really do too much work with 2 shares, right? Because then you're starting to talk about, just the commissions of the trade, and it doesn't make any sense at this point. But if this was 100 shares, we could probably take, 80 shares off and hold 20 just to see what it does, right? Because even 20 shares, it was a whole nother $1, so that's $20. But 2 shares, that's $2. So, it's not worth it with a smaller amount of shares. But again, that's going down the line. I already know that I'm going to be doing that. I practice it as much as I can when I do have the bigger shares. So I know that I can do it. I don't when I don't really have the shares to do it. But again, that's my strategy in a nutshell. So again, it sounds simple enough, right? Just wait for the intensity, the FOMO to kick in, wait for it to jiggle at the top, look for a short position. Obviously we're going to be managing our risk, which we can get into a little bit, like how do I do that? And then go from there. And just as far as managing risk, I usually look at what 50% of the move. So like we had said before, if we say like the bulk of the move started right here and we obviously entered here. So the quick math would be $1.25. So if you take a half of $1.25, that is what, 70 cents? 70? Yeah, right? No. I cannot do math. It's like 62.5 cents. So on 62.5 cents, you would take the amount that you want to make, and do you divide into it? I don't know. This is why I make hot buttons to do it for me. So if you wanted to make $10, you would divide 0.62, and it would be 16 shares. So you would need to take 16 shares from this point. Half the move would give you $10, right? That's basically what I do. I've made a hot button that does that for me, which I don't know if it's going to be on here. Yeah, I haven't updated the default one yet. But I have a hot button where I can double click on the chart. It'll load the price in there. So I'll look for like 50% of the move. I'll double click there, and then I can hit a button and it'll tell me how many shares that I need. So that's pretty much how I determine risk, though. I'll look for 50% of the move, and then I'll take how many cents that is, or dollars, whatever it is, and then you just divide that into what you're looking for, and that's how I start my positions. That's why I will have no matter what the price of the stock, I'll have the same amount of shares based off of the range of the stock, which is what these buttons were. Like if I click these, it would say, I believe this was for 20 bucks at the time, but if I needed, well, yeah, obviously, because 200 shares on 10 cents. So if I was looking for 10 cents, it would give me 200 shares, right, to make 20 bucks. If I was looking for 20 bucks on 25 cents, it would give me 80 shares. 50 cents, 40 shares, and obviously down the line. Why not trade bullish setups as well? I just find that I trade these better. Simple. Just the bias. There's nothing wrong with the bullish setups. I just do better with the short setups. That's all. I think you could make single options easy to understand if you want to Zoom or something one day. Maybe one day, man, but not anytime soon. Lance, what's up, man? Does entering a short show on the time and sale, and how does entering a short after a candle on the charts affect the charts? Does entering a short show on the time and sales, and how does entering a short affect the candle on the charts? So shorting and selling are the same thing. So if somebody bought shares down here and then sold them, it would look the exact same as if I were to just be entering a short position to begin with. So it doesn't affect it any differently. It just looks like a sell. Again, for a transaction to go through, you need a buyer and a seller. So when you sell your shares, somebody also has to buy those shares. So if somebody is buying shares down here, somebody obviously had to sell shares to them. And that's why anytime you see the top of a candle, somebody bought there, whether it was a cover and they top ticked a cover, or they bought their shares looking for it to go higher and it didn't. So at the top of every one of these candles is somebody out there that bought shares there. So, and I've been that person. It happens. Just double click in the middle of the whole move is half the move, give or take a few cents. Yeah. So, yeah, this is probably going to look funny for you guys for a second, but let me load up my default so I can save the montage real quick. Go back to the single. So basically what's happening with this is, let's go over to RXT. So say it's making the move, and obviously I'm pretty sure this actually made the high up there before we got in, and then I actually just I hit the ask, I believe, to get in. So it's coming up, it made this high. We can say that half the move is like right here, right? We'll say 23.75, which is why I covered there, or I put my cover out there, because I could see that was, you don't ever see me draw these lines anymore because I just visualize this, but there's no harm in drawing these lines, but sometimes the moves happen so quick that you don't really have time. But as you can see, most days I'll go really small, and that's kind of how you can go a little bit smaller. These are the same buttons. It's just this one will actually put me in the position right away, and this one just loads the position so I can see the share size. So what I've been doing as these have been like B setups and like B minus, type setups, is I will actually go to the beginning of the move with this button. So I will double click down here. It'll load me the price, which is 23.11, where I double clicked, and I can hit load and you'll see that it gave me close to 10 shares, which was 12. But I remember seeing this was spready, and sometimes like I'll go up from there or I'll go down depending on how much I like the move. But in this case, so what that's saying is I would need this to come from my entry all the way down to here to give me that $10, right? But what that's doing in my head is I'm starting smaller, which is what I've been doing recently because there hasn't been that much to trade. And you go back, I mean, I've been doing this for 3 weeks because I haven't been that comfortable and haven't felt like the market has been providing anything for like the last 3 weeks, and I've still come close to goal a bunch. So there is some merit in that I've been basically trading half size. Sometimes in the afternoons I've been trading 25% size because like I'll do this double click and then I would go down to say 5 shares. I don't think I've went that low in most cases, but I have done that where I've went down even further in size. And sometimes that's all you need. Like if you just keep stacking them and stacking them, they work, and you're clearly not taking as much risk, right? And you don't obviously in the afternoons want to make a green day red, so there's always that as well. I always recommend if you have a decent morning to always tune it down a little bit into the afternoon because there's no reason to give everything back. But so what I'm doing is I'm double clicking, and then I can hit that DC load, and then I always try to stay at some kind of a whole number, whether it was 10, 15. I try not to go to like 12 and stuff unless it's like something that's happening really fast and I really want in, and I click this button, it's just going to give me whatever those shares are from based off of where I clicked. So then so if I would have hit it there, it would have gave me 12 shares, which isn't a problem, but it is what it is. So basically what that's saying too is if I get that half the move, I'm going to get about $5, which on this one I got 450. So I mean, you're literally seeing what I do basically in hindsight. But if I would have double clicked here, right, and hit the load button, you'll see it gave me 71 shares. Actually, I believe is based off of the current bid. Yeah, I think that's based off the current bid actually, so that's probably not even right. But it would be based off of the current bid. Or actually, that might have been right because I remember the spread was really bad on this one, and that's why I hit the ask, and there was like a 20-cent spread. So it was probably pretty close. I mean, let's just do the math. 26 with 10 shares down to 80. Yeah, so that's about right to get the $10. So needless to say, that's basically how I do it. If you're being more aggressive, if it's plays you like, you double click 50% of the move. You can hit the load to see what the shares are, or you can just double click to get right in, which is what I plan on doing when they're moves that I actually really like, because I want to be making at least that 1/5 of my goal on the base hits, right? But then if it continues, right, our max loss, remember, is at 300, which we haven't even come close to. The only time we even came close to that was when we got that grindy piece of crap, that 150 or 142 or whatever that we lost on GT, because it just grinded and we just got stupid with it. But we have plenty of room, right? Plenty of room. And again, our average, and this always goes, I always say that one of the most important numbers that you can have is your average green day, your average winning day versus your average losing day. And I also always say that winning is not as important as losing. Losing is what defines you as a trader. How you lose is what is going to define you as a trader. So the better that you can lose, because you're going to lose, the better you will be as a trader. And it took me a long time to understand that. Before, I just never wanted to lose. I never wanted to accept that I could lose. That's why you would see me trade such a high win rate strategy. But what I didn't realize is when I got cocky and confident and a trade came along and said, I don't care if you don't want to lose, you're losing this trade, then it becomes, like damage control. Like, well, how much am I going to lose? And that's when it's already out of hand at that point. And that's where risk management comes into play. And that's something I didn't have back then. And that's what I always try to tell everyone. Everyone's like, well, what clicked for you at the beginning of this year where it seems that you are figuring it out? Like you've kind of have figured it out and you're being consistent. And the best way I feel like I can describe it is like, imagine working in a factory and you're building this giant gearbox and in the factory for the last 2.5 years, you've been building this smaller gear, and then this smaller gear, and then this like medium gear, and then this like bigger gear down here, and then another small gear here, and then like another small gear here. And it's like you're building all these gears with the goal in mind that eventually these are all going to go together, and it's going to start to make the machine that you're building work correctly. It's going to start making everything come together and work together, and everything just starts to kind of click together. And I really think that that's kind of what happened. So if I didn't do every single thing that I have done up to this point, good or bad, I wouldn't be where I am right now. So it really takes just diving in. The screen time is the most valuable thing that you can have. Actually doing it, whether it's on paper or for real money, it doesn't matter. Is once you get started, to really get those fundamentals down, to see the charts over and over again. The more you can sit here and see the same thing happen over and over again, the more you'll realize why Brian, and now I can see myself saying it, it's the same thing, different day, different ticker. It's the same thing. You're just implementing a strategy into an edge, and it's the same thing. If you're just the person executing that strategy. And once I can see it, which I still can't apparently, that's when I think things are going to actually start to take off. I really do. And it also comes with me, getting those last gears put in place. And that's just where we are. So yeah. Sure, for sure. What's up, man? On the other side, if you were trading full size or normal size, you would have been over goal, if not double goal, on most days. Yeah, but that's hindsight. And on worst day, you still wouldn't have hit max day loss. You're right. You're definitely right. Brad the Baker. What's up, youngin'? If I would stop making stupid mistakes, I would be green a lot more. Darn 9 to 5. Just quit. Only if it were that easy, right? How many people were in here? 11? Dang. We didn't do too hot today, huh? Dang, we only got up to 13. Actually felt like it was a decent little stream. I definitely will be scaling, but in my own way. Like I had said, instead of scaling up share size and like sticking with 112, Kevin is totally a beer. Yeah, shocked up. I'll just be doing like the 124, because me and David talk about this a lot, where him and Brian are ones that will, start a position, add again, add again. Like that's what they do, right? Do you ever see me do that? No. You see me add, and then if I was early, like say it keeps going. Actually, let's just say got an entry here. What do you see me do? Or actually, we'll say right here, because you can see it looks like it pulled back and then went higher. I'll wait, right? I'll wait until the next obvious spot. I'll wait for that next jiggle, that next ceiling that it runs into, and then I'll look to get my ad there, and then I'll do it again if it decides to keep going before we get that flush that we're looking for. And my theory is the 1-1. Sure, that's great, and it's been working. It's safe, but that's where it brings my average, right? If I were to obviously top tick that, that's where it brings my average. But if I were to do the 1-2, now my average is there, right? It's a pretty big difference. Instead of here, it's here. Pretty big difference in my eyes. So it's a great way, if you're patient with your entries, to keep your average up a lot better. There are going to be times where you miss ads because you're obviously looking for a much better ad, where Brian and David are going to, get the top almost all the time, because they're basically adding to get the top and keep their average up as well. So there are going to be times where you miss those, but most of the time when you miss those ads, it's just a single entry and it ends up looking like this. So like if I got in on the way up and then it kept going and I was looking for an ad on the other side of the $50 here, right? But the $50 stopped it on a dime and then it dropped. It is what it is, right? We were looking for our ad up here, but we just didn't get it, right? So it still came down and we ended up with a green trade. Who cares, right? That's not a bad thing. It's never a bad thing, right? You're never going to complain about a winning trade. You hear people say it all the time. Oh, I should have added. I should have added. Okay. Well, then when you start getting FOMO and you add here, right? That's the time it rips all the way up to $26. And then in hindsight, you're going to see those first two entries look really close together because you FOMO'd into it. But that's if that's not your strategy. Like David and Brian, that's their strategy. It's not mine. So lack of shorts killing you lately? Yeah, I can see how that's frustrating. Is there anybody here that has not won the ISW giveaway that is interested in a free week of the Team ISW? I have a feeling you're going to have very good odds this week if you are. And then we're going to get the Wheel of Awesomeness going here. Why is it? Uh-oh. I was like, why is it like a different color? Because I think we talked about everything and we're good to go. Ready to start the weekend. I was actually really contemplating on not streaming next week just to take a little break. But I feel like I'm alright. I feel like I ignore the stream so much that that it's like I'm not even streaming anyway. I mean, I jump in to answer everyone's questions and like kind of talk to you guys, but I'm such a bad host. I really am. By the way, Justin, what's up, man? People were telling me to trade options earlier, and I told them that you had tried to explain to me how they work, and I was completely clueless. My mother won last week. Let's see if she wins again this week. Got Biz. I got Thomas, right? Yeah. C-Sham was here. See if anybody else is in here that's snooping around. It's so weird that I wonder if that like your profile has to be on public or something for you to pop up in there, because it says there's 16 people in here, but for some reason it doesn't show everybody. You only trade one ticker? Is that the SPY? Why? I feel like, believe it, I mean, the SPY has actually been pretty volatile lately, like since the pandemic, but I feel like when things are normal, like it just kind of goes up and down like $1 or $2. I just feel like the SPY is so like news driven. Like I wouldn't want to trade that. I don't know. That's not for me. So power to you. I don't even know. Let's see. Alrighty. We are going to do the Wheel of Awesomeness since nobody's interested in the ISW giveaway this week. It is a little bit of a lower turnout. I feel like everyone it was just an off week. So I feel like everyone's kind of just ready for the weekend. I am. I'm ready to just chill. I have we're doing a family swim thing tomorrow. It's pretty cool. The pool, the indoor pool that my son goes to learn how to swim. They have family swims where you can get the whole pool to yourself for an hour for $20 for the whole family. It's pretty awesome. So we've been doing that on the weekends, and we get to go in there and just kind of mess around. He likes to actually practice learning how to swim because he's actually starting to get good at it. He loves trying to dive in and touch the bottom, and it's pretty awesome for a 5-year-old. I'm not gonna lie, it's been kind of impressive. I'm proud of him. But after that, my dad's gonna take them up to their cousins, my sister-in-law, stepsister. Her daughter is having a birthday party, and they are within our pandemic circle. So he's actually going to take both the kids. So the wife and I are actually going to go out to dinner, and we haven't decided where yet. And then we're going to have the night until they get back to ourselves. So I'm actually really looking forward to that. It's been so nonstop for months now, or just really just no break. And I was just talking to Brian a little bit earlier saying I need a vacation, and he started sending me pictures of Hawaii. We started talking about the Grand Cayman Island, Grand Caymans, and yeah, it's just I'm ready for a break. But anyways, I hope you all have a great weekend. I wish you all the best of luck in this Wheel of Awesomeness. I am going to wish you all luck, so good luck. And yeah, I will see you guys Monday morning. So with that said, here we go. Good luck to you guys. Hi. Oh, go, Biz. You are the awesome winner of this weekend. Go play the lottery, man. You probably will lose, but know that you're awesome while you're doing it. And I am going to get out of here until Monday morning, guys. Have a great weekend. I'll see you then. Peace.